I'm Diana Sanchez. I am the Senior Director of Film here at TIFF. I'm so excited to be here for this presentation of the Wasp Network. It's the new film by Olivier Assayas, and he's working in my language, a film in Spanish, which is very exciting. So we have a wonderful evening planned for you. And to begin, we'd like to acknowledge that tonight's event is taking place on the treaty territory of the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation and the traditional territory of the Haudenosaunee, the Anishinaabe, and the Huron-Wendat. And we are very grateful to have this opportunity to work here in the community. So thank you. And of course, the film is eligible for the Gross People's Choice Award, so you can vote for your favorite films online this year, tiff.net/vote. And a big thank you to Creative Artists Agency, CAA, and Orange Studio for providing us with this evening's film. So Olivier Assayas, you've all, I'm sure, heard of him. He's had many films here at the festival. So his first one here was L'Enfant de l'Hiver in '89. He's had Le Froid, Irma Vep, at late August, early September, Clean, Clouds of Sils Maria, Personal Shopper. Last year he had Nonfiction, which is really, really great. And this year he has his latest film, which is the Wasp Network. It's working in Spanish. He's here with us today. Please welcome Olivier Assayas.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Bravo.
Thank you so much. It's always such an honor, such a pleasure to come back to Toronto, that has been so supportive of my filmmaking, and that, like all great festivals, teaches filmmakers to meet filmmakers from all over the world. And I think, this is part of why I have been so inspired by the idea of making movies abroad, outside of my culture. It's thanks to film festivals. It's thanks to film festivals like Toronto that that are so open and so multicultural, more than any other film festival in the world, I think. Let me first, one thing I wanted to say. I was here last year with a movie that was set in the publishing world in Paris, shot in 3 or 4 apartments, and mostly about French people talking about the digital revolution or something like that. And people were asking me why you make small small movies with the people with a lot of dialogue, boring, and so on and so forth. So I kind of listened to them, and so hopefully you will see my answer is this film, which is maybe too far off. I mean, it's kind of but at least it's not French people talking in offices. First, I would love to introduce you to the man who made this movie possible. It's movies are always difficult. Every single film is difficult. Every single film is a battle. Every single film is a war. And no one gets here, brings you a film here without a long story of fight and of struggle. This one was tougher than most. Why does a French filmmaker go to Cuba in a difficult environment, to say the least, shoot a film in Spanish, tell a Cold War story, get himself in that kind of mess? It makes no sense. So that's why and also dealing with controversial political issues, right? So it hasn't made our life easy. So it means that if this film has happened, it's thanks to a genuinely great producer, someone who I admire and who's a dear friend. That's Rodrigo Teixeira. Um, it's I think again I've been inspired by making movies outside my culture, also because I think it's a way of discovering the world. I mean, to me, the process of making movies is discovering spaces, discovering cultures that are not that I can describe, represent through filmmaking, and in that sense, the world is a stage. The great thing about making movies not in your language, in another language, is to meet great actors who you would not be working with if, for instance, I had stayed within the framework of French filmmaking. And so I think that part of the excitement I had making this film was thanks to the great cast. Thanks to the great cast for meeting, and they're here, and they are really the people who inspired me, and thanks to whom I discovered, loved, and who gave heart and soul to this film. Please welcome Gael García Bernal. Wagner Moura. And someone who has been a friend for 10 years and who I had wanted to work again with for ages. We did Carlos together, Edgar Ramírez. Can I also remind you that this is not just a boys' film? There are actually girls. There's Penélope Cruz, there's Ana de Armas. We miss them. We would be so happy for them to be here, but they shoot. Both of them are involved in shooting, but you know they were so essential. I mean, it's also their film. You should say a few words.
Yeah, wow, yeah. So, well, thank you very much. Thank you, Olivier, for inviting me and invited us again to be on this crazy adventure. I know the next one will be North Korea, because this is how we roll. Always easy locations, no controversy. This is how we do it.
Thinking of Somalia.
Oh, Somalia, yeah, for that matter. So it's been an amazing pleasure to be part of this film, a film that explores, the human side of people, individuals that have been put to their very limits beyond politics and beyond ideology. Is a human examination of people that are not just pawns on a bigger chessboard. They are people, they're individuals with family, with feelings, and that's what I found so valuable and interesting and beautiful about this story. I hope that you enjoy it, and yeah, I'm very happy to be back in Toronto and enjoy the film. Thank you.
Any other words?
Okay.
Any other words?
Yeah, no, yeah, I have a few more words. I'm sorry, I hope I'm not boring you. No, sorry. No, there's two things I want to say. First, this is not a spy thriller. I've been reading here and there, this film has been presented as a spy. It's not a spy thriller, it's modern history. It's a movie that is based on fact. It's the same approach as when I made Carlos, meaning, when you're dealing with modern politics, you have to get your facts right. I think it's vital, because otherwise you get into partisan territory, which is not what I deal in. So this has the complexity, the richness, the fullness, the conflicts also of real people who are living, whose lives are somehow crushed by history. So in that sense, I prefer historical drama, modern drama, political drama, whatever. But
Drama.
But it's the story of human beings. And usually when you finish the presentation of the film, you say something, have a good screening and blah blah blah. I hope you will enjoy it as much as we enjoyed making the film. In this case, I will hope you will have a great screening, but enjoying is not the word I would use for the process of making this film. It has been brutal. So I don't wish that on anybody. But it was so exciting. Making this movie was an adventure. And it's an adventure we lived together, which bonded us together, and that's also what is exciting, beautiful, and maybe sometimes a bit crazy about filmmaking. Thank you so much to be here tonight.
Thank you.
And we will be back for the Q&A, right?
And we will be back for the Q&A.
Yes.
Well, you'll tell us about the adventure after.
Oh yes, with great pleasure.
Excellent.
With great pleasure.
Thank you.
They're actually funny.
Out, Olivier Assayas. Who's next? Rodrigo. Gael García Bernal. Where are you? Wagner Moura. Edgar Ramírez. Come on out, all of you.
Los venezolanos que vienen aquí exilados.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
They were incredible. They were incredible. Thank you so much. I'm going to kick things off because I'm so fascinated by how you got the cast, how you united this cast. What attracted you to this film? Can you start, Gael?
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. Sí, también. Sí. No, thank you so much for this wonderful reception. It's really nice to see everyone. So, thank you. Many things attracted us to this story. Basically, I think, speaking for myself, but also I'm sure we all share this, all films are made, there's someone that falls in love first with the film, and that person invites everyone into the film and everyone into this love story in a way, and that is Olivier. So working with Olivier was something that was like, oh, great, fantastic. He made us fall in love with this story, what was going to be told. I'm going to say, there's many things to say about this, but there was one thing that I really liked and wanted to do, which was to play a Cuban. I wanted to be in Cuba and play a Cuban, really. It was one of the things.
Yeah, and I think that's also one of the amazing things of doing this film was to be able to work with this cast, to be in a film in Cuba with Edgar from Venezuela, Gael from Mexico, Ana de Armas from Cuba, Penélope from Spain, Leo Esbaralla from Argentina. So this is
Wagner de Brazil.
So this is a cast of Latinos, which is for us it's a big deal.
And
The talker.
yeah, and for me, well, of course, the opportunity to come back, with Olivier, like to after 10 years since we did Carlos, a movie that changed my life. And then, of course, it was a great joy when I got the call and said, Edgar, I got something for you. And I said, okay, perfect, yes, and now send the script, you know? And then I read it. And yes, I mean, I have to, I mean, it might sound repetitive, but it's very important and very emotional. It's something that we wonder, why didn't this happen before? That all of us got together, like it took a French guy to put us all together to work. I've been admiring the work of these two guys for so many years, you know, and finally, I'm very happy that we got to do this and that we got to really spend time with each other, and now we're friends, and it's a beautiful thing, you know, and yeah, and I think that it shows, you know, the chemistry shows on the screen, and of course, Gael dances salsa very well. And Wagner as well, but he mixes it with samba, which is the only one who can do it, you know. I tried the samba, but it doesn't work. It won't ever work.
You did well.
With a couple of rums, yeah, it works. But yeah, no, I mean, truthfully, yes. I mean, the opportunity to do this, and of course, to tell a human story. You know, as you saw on the screen, it is a human story. It is an exploration. As I've said in other interviews today, we try to do the most thoughtful examination of these individuals as human beings, you know, beyond any politics, beyond any ideology. So it's a human story of how people get crushed by the wheel of history, as Olivier so beautifully put it earlier this morning. So that's what attracted me to the story. Yeah.
Thank you. So Olivier, before the film, you talked about the adventure of making this film. I'm very curious, I'm sure we all are, about what was the most challenging part about it? Or one of the most, and I'm going to want to hear from you.
How much time you got?
Challenging. Everything was challenging about this film. I mean, you know, just surviving from day to day was challenging. You know, just getting everything done every single day was challenging. You know, just but the moment I felt the most miserable was when we were shooting stuff on boats. And the sea was really rough, like you had like those big waves, etc. And we were shooting on the boat, and we were shooting stuff with FBI agents, with guns, and the guys were so seasick. I mean, like so seasick. They were throwing up between takes. So you know, I had like 3 FBI guys. I mean, actors playing FBI guys throwing up, and I would come to them and say, oh yeah, can we do another take where we can have this kind of nuance?
Throw up a little bit less.
I mean, that was challenging. That was challenging. Shooting those, you know, shooting a scene with. I mean, you know, when we got to Cuba, it was really exciting because all of a sudden, you know, said every door will be open. You can do whatever you want, and say, oh, great, you know. And then we realized that they don't have helicopters in Cuba. So how are you supposed to shoot, you know, scenes with? How do you shoot planes? You don't shoot planes. So so the only helicopter they had was this kind of Rambo movie type, you know, like those huge like trucks, you know, like the size of a truck, and we used that huge army helicopter to shoot the plane scenes, which even when you have the right helicopters are very difficult to get right, you know. So they have no planes. There's like no planes in Cuba, like civilian planes, you know. So we had to fly the planes from the U.S. and then once we had everything in place. In the airport, meaning the huge helicopter, the small planes coming from America, one from Las Vegas, the other from Minneapolis, the other from wherever, etc. And everybody was ready, and it was like the most expensive shooting day of the whole set. All of a sudden, you're there on the airport, and they tell you, well, you know, the planes can't take off. Why can't they take off? I don't know. So we said, but is it a problem with is it a problem with the airport? No, the airport is fine. Is it a problem with the Cuban Air Force? No, the Cuban Air Force is perfectly fine. So is it a problem with the Ministry of the Interior, State Security, or whatever? No, not really. I think they're okay. But what's the problem? So we can fly? No, you can't fly. We will, that's the kind of stuff we had to deal. We had to.
Poor thing. Look how he gets. He's still, you're channeling. I know you're traumatized. Yeah, I can see it. Because suddenly I was there. That's why I was there. It was when we were shooting all the airplane scenes, and then suddenly, as he said, we have everything. Is that the airspace is closed. What do you mean the airplane is closed? If we have everything here, no, it's closed, and it's very Kafkian. It's very Kafkian. You don't really get an answer ever.
That's one. That's one story among 100. I mean, every single day it was a bit like that. But this one, I just got nuts. It just made me go nuts. I mean, I just we had everybody waiting on the tarmac all day. And finally, they allowed us. I mean, because I said, okay. So now I'm going to call the French ambassador. And because at this point you are kind of, just putting this movie in jeopardy. And say, oh yeah, okay, you can do that. Why not? Etc. Maybe it's a good idea. Try that. So in the end, they allowed us to shoot like the next day. We were stuck all day. So yeah. So when I say challenging, I mean like.
Real challenges, yeah. So, Rodrigo, why did you decide to produce this movie?
Because also I'm curious about, I really like to work with Cuba. I think it's a subject every producer is intrigued to do. Yeah. And I'm a huge fan of Olivier. And with the possibility to produce Olivier was a dream for me when I sent him the book, and he loved the book and came back to me telling he's gonna do it. Was I know that's gonna happen, and it was a real pleasure, actually a pleasure and adventure, because we moved for 1996 because we are living in a place who looks like 1996 or even 1980s, and we don't have internet access. We're trying to talk to each other, we risk cards to have.
We became so good friends.
Yes. And we could talk to each other and became friends. It's true, completely. We became like a group of family friends. We spent time together. It was a real pleasure to do this film and work with all of them. And also to do a Pan-American movie, because I think we need to create value we put these countries together and do more films together. I think this is the most important way to do films, as all of us together in the same. This is the most important thing.
Okay. We're going to have to leave, but before we do, Olivier, what attracted you to tell this particular story? Because, as they said, a Frenchman decided to tell the Wasp Network.
Well, it's more or less what I was trying to explain when I introduced the film. Yeah. It's what I'm interested in doing what I don't know how to do. Okay. It's just when you've made when you have made this and that movie. I mean, I made quite a few movies, so. To keep me inspired, to keep me excited, to keep me feeling the same energy I had as a teenager, I need to deal with something where I'm discovering a new world, where I'm discovering new opportunities for my filmmaking, where I'm learning stuff that I will use in the future. Movies are about making a step forward. I mean, if you it's not about always being in the same framework, doing the same movies in the same world. I just need to have a sense that I'm challenging myself, that I'm putting myself at risk. And my producer at risk, but it's the only way to feel alive while making movies.
Absolutely, I agree. Yeah. Getting out of your comfort zone. I'm so happy that we got to have this movie here at TIFF, that you all came here to present it, and thank you to all of you for coming to see it.
Thank you.
Thank you.